So about 20 years ago now, I was studying my PhD on a threatened plant species that was in Scotland. It's called small cowwheat or Melanpyrum sylvaticum. Nobody has ever heard of it, but it was my pet species. So I started a reintroduction of this one species. And ever since then, I've been really into reintroductions and then conservation translocations more widely. And it's just become like a career sort of focus ever since. The ultimate goal of a translocation isn't just to move things from one point to another and say job done. We've got to actually make sure that that's a long-term wild population and it's going to genuinely make a difference to the extinction crisis. So a lot of the impact that we have that's external to like research papers and conferences and things like that is about actually working with practitioners on the field sites where they're releasing things and trying to help them be more effective. What we might do is use like computer-based approaches to sort of model how the climate might change in the future and where we'd find habitat that's suitable now and in the future. And we'll also use our research approaches to look into monitoring and how we can better understand what plants and animals do once we've released them into the wild. So it might be local priorities. So we're working on peat bogs between Salford and Warrington, but we're also sort of looking further afield. So we're working with the Cheshire Wildlife Trust to reintroduce beavers into Delamere Forest. More recently, I've personally been moving more into the sort of policy sphere. So once you work with lots of different practitioners on the ground, that starts becoming like a body of evidence that you can start applying more widely as best practice guidelines or policy. The Environment, Farming and Rural Affairs Select Committee, which is a parliamentary select committee, issued an inquiry on species reintroductions. I went down to the Palace of Westminster and I spoke to the select committee. I was very nervous. They took a lot of my comments on board. And one of them in particular was the fact that we need like a database for the country, for England. And when that comes about, which should be next year now, England will be the first country to have a government-sponsored reintroductions database. And so that's where we're taking our work from the past year and then into the future.